Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here doing my review for episode 11 of Andor, Daughter of Ferrix. So, something key happens here. So, Cassian's mother, Marva, dies. She passes away, and there is going to be a funeral ceremony. Now, Miro, she wants the funeral to go ahead, even though the local imperial authorities don't want that to happen, because she wants to sort of root him out. She wants to, bring him in, and is assuming that he will come to the funeral of his mom. Now, so it's kind of crazy. I mean, throughout the episode, you like Cassian himself doesn't find out about it until the end of the episode, when he's finally told about that. But I mean, you see traces of it all throughout there. I mean, when she dies, Vel goes to Kayla, I believe is how it's pronounced, um, to essentially tell her what has happened, and then goes to Mon Mothma to, and that's where you essentially see that Mon Mothma's daughter is, she is really into the whole Transylvanian or Chan Drillin. It's it's pronounced in the show. It's so whatever their culture and tradition. So she is part of a group that sort of does that because as I kind of suspected, she has no choice but to marry her, or to see about marrying her daughter off up to this to Skolden, I believe it is. Yeah, Davos Skolden. All right, yeah. So anyway, yeah, she's obviously eaten up about it. There's tears. Vel is very concerned, and that's that pretty much covers there. So then you go into back on Ferrix. Bix is being interrogated. Like, she looks just so messed up through this torture that they've sort of done, and essentially she is asked if Krieger was the one she was introducing Cassian to, and it doesn't say if she said anything, because I mean, it could go two ways. Either she says yes, the attack fails, and the rebels are all in the clear, or she says no, and then I mean, they still beat off the attack, but they obviously realize there's other cells they need to worry about. So yeah, we'll see obviously on the last episode how that plays out. um and then Karn, so Cyril, he also makes another brief entrance into this episode, where he meets his sergeant buddy, who he asks to keep in touch on whether or not if he's heard anything from Andor, and he hasn't heard anything directly, but just finds out that Andor's mom has died. So he's gonna go and do something from there. How his thing turns out, I don't know. It's kind of It started out interesting, but I mean, it's literally just peaks here and there, so I don't know whether or not it'll blossom in this last episode, or if it's something that, kind of is left loose and is played on deeper in the second season, which has been greenlit. So, super excited about that. And then we go to Saw Gerrera, in which he decides he's going to assist in Krieger's attack, but now it's just like Krieger is being sacrificed. Like there is no choice, and this leads to a whole confrontation of he finds out about it, like Guerrera is just like, how do you know all this stuff? You either know this stuff because you either have someone in the ISB who is giving you information, or you're an ISB member yourself. And then it's paranoia just plays into that, and so he says that one of his people is the one giving him information to take his gun and essentially get Sagarera to shut up so he'll actually listen. And he convinces him that, yeah, just let it be. Um, and yeah, so Luthen is not, while returning to Coruscant, and this is one of the cooler things. His ship. Oh my gosh! So there's an Imperial patrol. It's sort of a small, like type star destroyer with a bunch of satellites that essentially act as a tractor beam. And oh my goodness, it's so great. So I mean, again, you see the arrogance of the Imperials. They're just like, you know, you will stand by, and then when it's clear that his thing checks out, it's just like, no, pull him in. We could use the practice. Uh, so again, just really, really feeds on the arrogance of the Imperials. Um, but he, after being caught in a tractor beam, he launches countermeasures, which are like some sort of debris, or like I'm guessing, like he calls them countermeasures, and literally they hit the dish, and it just rips it to shreds, and he's freed. And again, they send the air wing, and they immediately go out. Like, again, this is what we're waiting for. Like, this makes sense. Why would they not use it? Unlike in Obi-Wan, where they have an entire wing, multiple wings of TIE fighters, and yet not one is shown flying when the rebels come and pick them up. Yeah. So yes, I'm very glad on that. But man, there's a point where before his hyperdrive's ready, where he has to dive around. He manages to shoot one, and then he flips around, goes toward the other two, and lights some sort of laser beam that essentially just slices them in two. It looks super cool. Like, I was really I liked it. I don't know how it worked or whatever, but that's where it's at. So Cassie and Melshi, they manage to get to Narkina 5. Or they get off Narkina 5 to these sort of aliens. We haven't seen a bunch of aliens in this series so far. I mean, a few here and there, but I mean, these are the first, like, actual, like, talking aliens that we've seen. And they try to go take the ship. And yeah, these guys are just like not having it. They have defenses ready. They have this sort of weird net covered with I don't know. it's like some sort of spider web kind of stuff. I don't know, but anyway, they're trapped, and you think they're going to be captured because they're essentially like, it's $1,000 to bring back or 1,000 credits to bring back an escapee, and eventually by talking they're just like, fuck the Empire, and they're just like, fuck the Empire too, and then they go, where are you going? And so they take him to Namos, and that's where he learns that Marva is passed. Whereas Melshi, he that's where he and him part ways, because they want to. They need to get the word out that the Imperials are imprisoning people forever, essentially, and just these horrible, horrible stock sentences, sham trials. Yeah, so more power on that. That's where we leave off. I mean, so I kind of just dived right into the episode before like doing an actual opinion on it. Uh, Things can change up, but whatever. Again, I liked this episode because once again it delivered on what it was supposed to do. It felt like it was written competently. Things again seemed real, like actual responses. Again, like with the whole, you know, yeah, I would believe that an intelligence like ISB would want to have this funeral go ahead, even though most of the local authorities are just like, we never give them the permits, to try to lure him out. I believe that these aliens are going to be like, you just try to steal our ship. What are you doing? And, give them, I don't know if they're giving them shit or if they were literally like talking with them and trying to convince each other that no, they're anti-empire. I'm not sure on that, but I believe that they would want to talk for a little bit to establish who these people are before letting them out and helping them out. And I liked the ship battle. Like that was super fun. I enjoyed watching the satellite dish get blown up, let alone Luthen ship just annihilating an entire wing of TIE fighters in a really cool fashion. But at the same time, the Imperials don't seem incompetent. They seem to know what they're doing. They are competent at their job. They're not just the shittiest aim with, yeah, like we've kind of seen them be. They're really scary. And in terms of the torture session that Bix went through, wow, like that's kind of crazy. And then you again wonder, like, with the whole rebellion thing. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Krieger's attack. Assumably, he's letting him go ahead with it so he can sacrifice himself, so that the ISB feels that they're safe, that they're invincible, that they don't need to worry about these kind of things. But Saw Gerrera's around. There's other factions of rebellions there too. But I mean, with everything that gets out, obviously, this does go into how the rebellion, not only forms, but also like unifies into the actual rebellion that we see in the original trilogy of Star Wars. So I'm very excited to see how that gets played out. Again, I'm hoping that the Cyril Karn storyline kind of has a sort of, at least somewhat of a, like, we're at the second to last episode, and it just feels like you're just glancing in on him ever from time to time. So I hope that they actually have something that makes it worth it. That either he gets carried into the second season, which would be great because it would mean they wouldn't have to necessarily finish his role off, but he needs to have a more prominent position in the last episode, in my opinion, to actually make his character seem worth it. Because in the first three episodes, he's very prominent, and you kind of feel for the guy, but then after that, it's just he's just some bitter, disgruntled former security who lives with his mom that drives him crazy. I mean, there's so much of that situation, which makes me think: is he gonna kill his mom? I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're gonna quite go into that level of psychosis here, but you see the signs. You see the signs. That's all I'll say. Um, and then the whole thing with Mom Mothma and her daughter Lita, and this whole marriage thing. It's just like you feel bad because she really has no choice because she's talking to her cousin, um, Vel, about how she was able to move credits from account to account to account, back in the back before the Imperials really started clamping down, hundreds of thousands of credits at a time. But now they're checking her accounts, and there's a 400,000 credit deficit in her accounts that if she doesn't come up with, it's that her game's up. So I mean, she literally has no choice but to marry her daughter off. Yeah, it's kind of really sad. Uh, I wonder how that's gonna play out. I'm thinking there's gonna be a marriage, unfortunately, which is really sad. And then I don't know what's gonna happen with Bix, or Miro, or the whole funeral. I imagine that's going to be in the last episode. So it should be really cool, and it should be. I'm just wondering how they're going to tie up all these lines that they have here. They can do it. I believe there is a window to do it, but it's just again, there's just so much to do here. You always wonder about last episodes, especially with episodes like this one, that were built up, but because it's a two-episode sort of arc, the build-up seems much more quick, and things are coming coming to a head. So yeah, I guess we'll see next week how this plays out. What would I give this episode? I think I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Once again, it delivered. Um, it was well done. I love the action scene. Solely on the action itself, I wanted to give it a 9. You know what? Screw it. Screw it. I'm gonna give it a 9 because the action scene with Luthen and the Sart, like, love that stuff. Love it, love it. So I'm gonna give it a 9. I will, yeah. So anyway, this is one of the best things I've seen on television for a long time. I think it's the best thing that's currently out right now, to be honest. And I look forward to it, and I feel really sad that there's only one more episode, and then we have to wait, I believe from what it says, almost 2 years to see season 2. So, waits galore. So anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.